Hey, I wanted to go over the build that I've been playing, that I ended up choosing after, trying out a couple characters and different classes, specifically so that it was the best to play on the Steam Deck. And I landed on Minion Necromancer build. So, for those of you who aren't aware, during the beta, I guess in early April, I think it was, Necromancer was completely overpowered. The skeletal minions were just destroying everything. They never died, and it was far and away the best class. So those got completely nerfed. They didn't release specific numbers, I think, but when it came to the next, open ability to play the game during the server slam, a lot of people were really down bad on Necro, so that going into the preload event, the early access event that I've been playing, every single tier list had Necromancer at the bottom by a lot. So what happened during the preload event for people who pre-purchased the game is they made a bunch of scaling changes to different classes, and basically every single class that was number 1, 2 on the tier list got completely smashed. And guess what? Necromancer was buffed, and a lot of the things that this build uses really gained a lot. So the one nerf is the essence gain. That's a little unfortunate, a 33% nerf to how quickly you're gaining essence. That kind of sucks. I feel it a little bit. You're going to have to cast Consume Corpse, and you're going to have to trigger Grim Harvest a little bit more. But they did not nerf the Skeletal Mages essence gain ability, so you're still gaining a lot from those. Raised Skeletons deal a lot more damage. The Golems, I played around with this. I think we're still going to sacrifice them. I'll go over that specific part of the build, but good news. This class got buffed, and hopefully they'll buff it again. So this build focuses on my Skeletal Mages CCing all the mobs so that I don't get hit no matter how powerful a mob is. So I've been playing on World Tier 2, which is Veteran, which is the highest that you can play on until you reach level 50, and it's a complete joke how bad I'm smashing everything. These mages, because of one of the legendaries, they cast this Blizzard that you'll see them cast right here, along with my Curse Decrepify, which allows minion damage to stun mobs. I basically permanently CC everything and take no damage whatsoever. The entire campaign is a complete joke. I'm blasting everything, and I think that it's really good on the Steam Deck because of the mechanics of this playstyle. Standing still buffs your damage by 30%. The way that targeting corpses works in any controller configuration for Diablo, including the Steam Deck, is really good. Like, look at how it's just sort of selecting all these corpses. And it's just a really good playstyle for not needing to have really good mouse accuracy for clicking on things, which I think some of the range specs and even some of the melee specs are going to suffer from, making them, not as good on the Steam Deck, in my opinion. So this build can be used to level. There are some other builds that you'll see when I link in the description that people recommend leveling better, but I wanted to try this build to see how clunky it was leveling. The build does revolve around 2 or 3 legendaries that until you get them, you're going to have a little bit of a problem with generating resources, but every other class in the game, in my opinion, has a harder time generating resources outside of one sorcerer spec that comes online even slower. So that was important for me. I don't want to be casting my builder filler ability often. That's boring for me, so that's one of the reasons I chose this. So the legendaries that really make this build come together are this one. So every 10 seconds, the mages cast a blizzard. That it says it chills continuously. It really, instantly freezes everything on the screen. And there's another mechanic that I'll get into, but this basically is one of the best triggers for stunning enemies out of any ability in the game, not just the Necromancer class. The other is you need this additional skeletal mages that will allow the skeletal mages to chill enemies faster and to also build your resources faster. That's very important for the way that this build works. I would say this legendary and this legendary power are really key for making it work. All these others are very, very good, in my opinion. Like the Skeletal Warriors, that really helps you survive so that they're tanking all the damage for you. This barrier ability, I tried taking it off. This is insanely good. I know you'll see other legendaries as you play and you get them that might appear a lot more powerful, but this procs so often. You're basically unkillable because of this legendary. They're going to nerf it, I think. It's just crazy. This is very good. There's one annoying mechanic where it doesn't slowly die off when you move. You just instantly drop all 30 stacks. On the Steam Deck, because of how aiming works, if you turn around, it counts as moving. That's a little bit annoying. I hope that they fix that mechanic because it actually, things die off and buffs die off in Diablo 3, so hopefully they add that. And this is, I don't really notice this is not necessary, but the two most necessary ones are you need to increase the number of skeletal mages that you have, and you need to get them to have this blizzard ability. That's absolutely key. So here is the build. It's Creparian's build for the minion Necromancer. The key abilities are Bone Spear, which is the highest damage Necro ability. The most popular Necro build is purely casting this. I think they don't use any minions. This right here, Decrepify. So you need to curse enemies for one of the CC mechanics to trigger properly, and Decrepify is a very good curse. It incredibly boosts your survivability by not ever getting hit, basically, because of how slow the mobs are. And if they do hit you, they hit you for a quarter or less damage. This is really the core of the build here, is that when decrepified enemies get hit, they can be stunned. And the lucky chance hit, which is a modifier applied to every damaging ability, the lucky chance hit for skeletal mages is very high. I don't think anybody knows the exact number, but it's proccing this a lot more than 10%. And with the way that one of the legendaries works, this blizzard, they're hitting constantly all the time. So it's increasing the ability to stun the mob, and this ability freezes enemies, along with the cold, where is it? Skeletal Mage's Cold. That can also freeze enemies, so you basically are never getting touched by bosses, elites, anything. They're just completely CC'd, they have zero chance to hit you, and you're just smashing them. So you run away, you proc the stand still bonus. Where is it? Well, I don't see it here, but yeah, this. You have 30% more damage, and you're just smashing everything. Army of the Dead is really good. There's another legendary that boosts their attack speed while Army of the Dead is active by an enormous amount, makes them more survivable. There's all these defensive bonuses that your minions get, but the core of the build is casting Decrepify. Your cold skeletal mages hit enemies and freeze them, and each hit has a 10% times the mage lucky hit chance modifier to stun them, and everything's stunned, everything's frozen, everything's moving 50% slower, plus however slow chill makes. It's crazy. So it's completely overpowered. So here's the skill build here. Oh, and by the way, I turned this trackpad into opening different menus. So like I don't know how to actually open this menu with controller mode. I couldn't figure it out. Here's the skill tree. Here's my Book of the Dead that I have. And you can see the Skeletal Mage's Cold here. Every time they hit with their primary attack, you gain 2 essence. So I thought that maybe the Blizzard would be proccing this and you just get infinite mana. That's not the case, unfortunately, but they're casting their primary attack all the time. This is a huge essence gain by this. But yeah, it would be cool if Blizzard also procced this, which it does not. But yeah, so the main skill build, like I said, is Bone Spear is smashing things. It does an enormous amount of damage. Reap is cool. I think that you could change Reap. You don't necessarily have to use Reap. It has a pretty good defensive component. Let's see, a damage reduction by 15%. That's very good. People trash on this. I haven't played a lot of other classes, but this is very, very good. It removes CCs. I like it. Maybe there's way better defensives, but you're getting hit so infrequently that I'm sort of just pressing this because it's off cooldown. Like I'm smashing everything in the campaign. Every dungeon I'm absolutely obliterating. I'm just usually pressing that button for fun. Decrepify, I kept it at rank 1. I don't think that the bonuses are... They're not doing a lot for me. Like 40% slow, 43% slow is very slow. Is that much better than 50% slow? Is 50% slow much better than that? I mean, I guess. It's okay, but I think that 40% is very slow. I'm not getting hit by stuff. And it doesn't increase the chance for something to be stunned. If it did, I would increase it more. And everything else is like a nice to have, basically. Even this is a nice to have, but it's Decrepify, it's Bone Spear, and it's Skeletal Mages stunning and chilling things. That's the main core of this build. So here I am, just smashing absolutely everything. They're first of all attacking my minions, which is making me more defensive, and then this Blizzard is slowing and freezing everything. Decrepify is slowing everything and making them hit for less. Every time one of my minions hits an enemy, they have Decrepify on them and they're getting stunned. It's just they have no chance whatsoever. Like I'm taking 0 damage. And on top of that, you can see that I have a barrier. I'm 100%, so I have barrier, so I'm not getting hit. I'm 100% fortified. And my legendary, if you remember, is buffing up my armor. Here. 40% more armor. Like, you are invincible. This build is completely broken. I don't know if they are going to... That's without me... That was me killing those elites without pressing Army of the Dead. Like, look at this. It's not even moving. Right? Like, look at how fast its health is going down. It's a joke. It's a ton of fun, though. I like feeling overpowered in games. I don't know if this is going to fall off more in the end game. I'm guessing maybe the damage needs to have some kind of scale, and it could potentially be slower. So it's one of those builds, like, it's great for leveling, is not good for, mid-level endgame where people are faster than you, and then is fantastic for ultra endgame. It could be something like that, where speed is not going to matter when you're at that level, and it's going to be mostly can you survive and can you even kill enemies. And I think that it's possible that that's the case, but my hope is that the weapon damage alone, that stat is going to be enough to boost the Bone Spear damage so that you're one-shotting trash mobs and doing a lot of damage to elites and bosses. Because right now, it is a little bit underwhelming, the damage of Bone Spear, but that has nothing to do with the minion build, right? If there's not a core ability for Necromancer available to any builds that is able to do the end game and kill bosses, then they're going to buff Necromancer's core abilities, right? Something that's going to be a candidate. There's nothing special about Bone Spear outside of the ability to cast Vulnerable on enemies, and you can get that from other abilities and other legendaries that add it to abilities that don't already have them. So I'm confident as long as they don't nerf Blizzard, or the chill effect of Cold Mages. If they nerf that, this build has a serious problem. But everything else got nerfed. They thought that minions needed to be buffed. So I'm pretty confident that it's going to be good for release. It may get nerfed in the next season in several months, but then there's going to be another build because you're bored of this one. So I hope you like this video. Let me know if you want to try some other things out. I'm going to make a druid video, and I'm probably going to make a sorcerer video. So have a good one.